Mother found dead in North Harris County.
Investigators say her son discovered her body, and now her car is missing. Kathy Hernandez live on the scene where police thought they found her car. What have they figured out, or do they know yet, Kathy?
Well, that's exactly what they say. They thought they found the car. They did not. They confirmed with us just minutes ago that the woman's car that the car they pulled here outside of the pond was not that of the murder victim. There at the murder scene, they say a teenage son heard gunshots and their garage door opening and closing. Then they say he found his mother shot to death. They say he ran to his dad's nearby apartment to call 911. They tell us the woman's car is missing from the garage. Deputies would now like to interview the mother's boyfriend, and they're looking for him. Deputies are also waiting for a search warrant to get inside that apartment to begin the investigation. We brought you a live report at 4:30 as they were working to pull that car out of this pond. But again, the scene is clear now, and they confirm with us that car they pulled out is not related to the murder scene. Reporting live in Northwest Harris County, Kathy Hernandez, KPRC 2 News.
Lost her life in a senseless shooting. Now her mom is speaking out.
Elizabeth Matthews is here now with that story. Elizabeth. According to this 1-month-old baby who turns 2 months old on Saturday is lucky to be alive. She was shot in the head earlier this month in Inglewood. Today we sat down with her mom and learned that 7 years ago she was also shot in Inglewood. She tells us her family is now done with this city.
I'm getting up out of here today. I got to leave Chicago. I love the city, but I can't stay here anymore.
Taisha Banks says her daughter, Tariana, continues to recover like a champ. We're blurring her face to protect her identity as the victim of a crime. At just 4 weeks old, she was shot in the head while in a car seat near 66th and Halstead. That shooting was caught on surveillance video, shows 3 men getting out of a black Jeep and firing in all different directions. Tariana, along with 6 adults, were wounded. The bullet, which is still in Tariana's head, broke her skull but did not puncture her brain.
I didn't ever think my baby was going to die. Because she was just looking at me like, Mama, what happened? She never stopped breathing. You know, I never had one doubt in my mind that she was going to leave me. I did.
The strength on that mom's face. So Tariana will likely need more surgeries in the future, but right now she is progressing very well. Police say no one's in custody for the shooting, but they continue to investigate. We'll have more on Tariana's story and hear from her mom coming up on the 9 o'clock news.
For the public's help to track down a suspect involved with a shooting in North Austin. Police say it happened last Tuesday at the El Pollo Rico restaurant near the intersection of Interstate 35 and Runberg Lane. APD says the suspect approached the victim from behind and fired 1 round into the victim's back. The victim was later transported to a nearby hospital with serious injuries. The gunman is described as a Hispanic or Middle Eastern man in his late teens or early 20s. There he is. APD says he also has a sleeve of tattoos on his right arm, and he may be driving around in a dark gray or black Mazda CX-3. The police department also looking for this suspect they believe was involved in a drive-by shooting in South Austin. Police say it happened last week at a warehouse on Todd Lane. That's near the intersection of the interstate and State Highway 71. Witnesses telling APD that there was a social gathering at the warehouse when a car drove by the building and opened fire, which seriously injured 2 people. The gunman was reportedly captured on a security camera video with a firearm. He's described as a black man in his mid-20s with dreadlocks. Anyone with information about either of these incidents is being asked to contact the Austin Police Department.
The investigation with a twist as NYPD detectives tried to figure out how an 80-year-old man ended up lying face up in the first-floor hallway outside of his apartment. According to a law enforcement source familiar with this investigation, someone wrote in black ink on the man's chest, "I touch little girls," and "I take dolls in my room for girls age 1 through 5.
I have children. Anybody can be a pedophile. I don't know what he did in his past. I don't know who had their kids around him, but, if he did that, he paid a hell of a price at his age. But if he did that, he got to answer to God.
Police say a fellow tenant in the man's building discovered the body Monday morning. By Tuesday evening, detectives were still dusting for prints. Neighbors Monique and Ken say the elderly man kept to himself, was friendly, and had extreme difficulty getting around.
We seen him crawling, literally crawling on the floor. And I asked my husband to help him walk.
When you say crawl, you mean literally on his hands and knees?
Crawling, yes, like a baby.
How was his demeanor? Did he seem friendly? Did he seem...
Yeah, he seemed very friendly. Every time, well, the few times we seen him, he always said hi, asked how he was doing. Yeah, he seemed real friendly. And as for the stuff on his chest, I don't know. That I can't speak about. Like my wife said, he got to answer to God for that.
This being 2021, there are eyes, electronic eyes everywhere, including 2 surveillance cameras right on either side of the front door of that building. Surely detectives taking a close look at that video.
17-year-old boy shot and killed tonight in Park Manor on the south side. Police say he was sitting in a car in the 7100 block of South Indiana Avenue when someone approached him and opened fire. That teen was hit in the head, sent to the University of Chicago hospital where he died. No one's in custody tonight.
Any other info come through on Preventable on them?
And we begin with a deadly shooting at a Family Dollar store in Woodlawn. Chicago police say just before 1 this afternoon, a gunman walked into the store and shot a man multiple times. The 31-year-old victim died on the scene. Police say the gunman fled in a gray SUV.
That shooting follows a violent night across the city. More than 24 people were injured overnight, and a 15-year-old boy was killed.
Today, the U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland launched a gun trafficking strike force to curb gun violence in 5 cities, including Chicago. Nate Rogers reports.
Attorney General Merrick Garland arrived here on the west side at Area 4 Police Headquarters just a short time ago. He'll tour the police station with Superintendent David Brown and Mayor Lightfoot. Now, Mr. Garland's visit to his hometown comes following President Biden's commitment to curb gun violence plaguing major U.S. cities. Earlier today, the Department of Justice launched 5 strike forces to help reduce gun violence by disrupting illegal gun trafficking. According to reports, there have been at least 430 people shot this year alone in Chicago, with nearly 70 people murdered. Mayor Lightfoot for some time has asked for federal help to get illegal guns off the street. Now, New York, LA, San Francisco, and Washington are other cities taking part in this initiative. Now, the Attorney General's other stops tonight will include a conversation with a Chicago anti-violence group, Ready. He'll also attend a meet and greet and a baseball game tonight with other community leaders. That is the latest here on the West Side. Nate Rogers, Fox 32 News.
Raising daytime on security video. Look at this. It happened near Melrose Avenue and Vista Street. This is in the Fairfax area. Investigators say 2 men got out of their car and confronted the person in the blue shirt, believing he was about to be robbed. That man pulled out a gun and fired. The would-be robbers went running and police captured them soon after. Now the LAPD is asking for help in finding the person with the blue shirt.
Terrifying moments for a downtown Los Angeles, showing this suspect making threats. The homeowner, who we won't be identifying, posted this on social media and asked her followers to share the video widely so people could be aware that the man is out there. At first, you can see the man just not making much sense, repeating himself.
Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions. Are you sure? What? Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you.
That is disturbing. Afterwards, the man escalated things, he was saying, eventually threatening to rape and kill the person inside.
What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to rape her and kill her. Do you have her open the door? I'm going to rape and kill the girl that's on the other side of this door when she lets me in. I want to rape her and kill her because I have a knife and a gun. Yeah, and I'm going to knock on her door again.
The Post left the neighborhood and
Group of people wanted for beating up a woman in Harlem and stealing her walker.
But as CBS News' John Diaz reports, at least one family member of the alleged suspects is telling a different story.
It's violence that's shocking New York City. The moments a 61-year-old woman got attacked by a group of younger people police believe are half her age. The suspects, 3 women and a man, are seen beating her. At one point, one used a cooking pot. Police say the group stole $22, credit cards, and even her walker. The woman was then treated at a hospital.
It broke my heart totally.
65-year-old Norma Presto also uses a walker to get around and lives in the area. And though she may be a stranger, she sympathizes for the victim.
It's something that I use every day. If I didn't have my walker, God knows, I won't be able to move around as I do right now.
The incident happened on the sidewalk near West 151st Street and Frederick Douglass Boulevard in Harlem on Tuesday. The community is not taking this one lightly.
That's scary. That's so bad. That's not nice at all. I have no character, no integrity. The thing that got me the most was, why did it need 4 people to attack one person?
But Sam Brown says the police have it all wrong.
The lady saying that she was beat up wrong. False.
Brown insists the 61-year-old woman started the fight with his nephew, his wife, and friends for a reason he doesn't know. And while police have no record of this, he claims this woman stabbed his nephew's wife first with a screwdriver multiple times.
They come allegedly looking for her and him for what? They are the victim. She is a victim. She was stabbed before this fight. This lady stabbed her.
And Brown tells me that the family has lawyered up and they plan on going to the police precinct later on today to file a report and tell their side of the story. From Harlem.
Robbery caught on camera in Brooklyn. A 68-year-old man is hospitalized after being repeatedly punched and kicked by a man who had been riding a city bike. It happened just after 8 o'clock last night near Pitkin Avenue and Barbie Street in East New York. Police say the suspect made off with the victim's cell phone and jewelry. The victim is stable at a local hospital where he's being treated for a broken wrist, a broken nose, and cuts throughout his body.
Also following, police are at the scene of a home where 3 people were found dead inside. Investigators say all 3 had been shot. The discovery made around noon today in Farmingville also found inside the home an unharmed baby left behind. Long Island reporter Kristen Thorne live outside the house with the breaking details. Kristen.
Dave, there are a lot of emotional friends and family of the victims here. We've heard a lot of screaming, a lot of crying. Everyone is extremely upset about all of this. Police are not identifying the victims, but say they include 2 women and 1 man. Police say that they were called to this house around 12 o'clock this afternoon, and we have seen emotional family members and friends gathering outside the home on Overlook Drive in Farmingville this afternoon. The bodies were discovered shortly after noon today. When police entered, they found a baby less than 1-year-old inside a room. The door was closed, and police say the baby was not harmed. Police say the victims were shot, and they are still looking for the shooter or shooters. Police say there are signs of forced entry, that it appears that the front door jamb has been broken, and they don't know if that is directly related to this incident or something that happened previously. But obviously, given the situation here, they are looking into that. A family member called police this morning.
The ball was from a relative of one of the residents inside the home. He had come to check on them. He called and suspected that they were dead inside the house.
Everybody's hurting about this because we all love them. They were great young people that were just trying to live their lives, that didn't bother anybody, so they didn't deserve this.
Jacqueline Wiggins says she is friends with 2 of the victims and that they were engaged and had a child together. It's unclear if that child is the same child that they found inside the home. Police say they have only been called to this home for minor noise complaints, but Eyewitness News has spoken with some people who live around here, and they say that is not the case, that there has been some very sketchy activity happening around this home in recent months and that police have been notified. We'll have another update for you on Eyewitness News at 5.
Morning, we're taking a closer look at the surge of gun violence in America at its highest level in decades. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas examined the violence over just 1 week and how it's affecting all of us. Good morning, Pierre.
Cecilia, good morning. We did a deeper dive looking at every shooting we could since last Saturday. The numbers are still coming in. The pervasiveness shocking. At least every hour, 2 fatally shot, 5 wounded.
Outside of a baseball game,
a stray bullet through a bedroom wall.
He just fell to the ground.
And a corner store.
I'm tired of this. I'm sick and tired of this.
Gun violence surging across the country. To see the impact of gun violence on everyday life, we teamed up with the Gun Violence Archive and our affiliates and owned stations across the nation. Just since Saturday, we've tracked at least 777 incidents, at least 310 dead, 709 wounded.
We're seeing numbers that up until last year we had literally not seen since the early 90s.
Towns and cities across the country grappling with the carnage. At 8 p.m. Saturday night in West Philadelphia, a run to the corner store puts a mother and a one-year-old child in her arms in harm's way.
A white Jeep pulls up in front of this store. One of the occupants of that vehicle indiscriminately starts shooting inside the store, striking two individuals inside that store.
It did not end there. A man inside the store returns fire. We came to Philadelphia to see what's happening firsthand.
This is another corner here where we have multiple shootings. I think there was a time, the one day we had 25 shell casings.
25.
25.
I mean, it sounds almost like something from a gangster movie, what you guys are describing.
It honestly is.
That night, reports of shots fired. It's a scene playing out routinely in this city and across the country. Gun violence. And sadly, a man has lost his life. If you look closely, there is a spent shell casing in the street. The emerging strategy here, target the small number of individuals actually responsible for the majority of the shooting.
You'll hear a lot of either myself or my counterparts talking about using data and intelligence to drive our deployment decisions, because we know it's a small group of people that's driving a lot of the larger proportions of our crime citywide.
We've seen so much this week, much of it dramatic, all of it tragic. And it's not just urban violence, domestic violence cases across the nation involving all races, the rich, middle class, the poor. And we've been struck by the number of children injured and killed this week. And sadly, this is a typical week. We hope to put up a mirror to the country. Guys?
Yeah, the numbers are just so disturbing. We're so...
You don't want to suck my dick. Get out of here.
Do you want coffee?
No. On my dick.
I can't do that.
Why?
You know it's inappropriate?
Yeah.
So why are you saying it?
I just wondered if you wanted to do it.
I don't want to do that to you. I want to help you. That's what I'm here for.
No, that would be a help.
What?
Suck my dick.
No.
Yeah, it would be.
It's nasty.
No, not nasty.